What is going on, guys? Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, we got PPI coming up in 1 minute. Yesterday's CPI number was hot. The market ended up, as suspected, the market ended up doing a counter move to the manipulation that was initially a major drop. Let's see what happens today.
We're literally now just seconds away from January producer.
That right there was CPI. And then we rallied all the way back up.
Going on, but we'll take a look at treasuries. This could change quickly as it did yesterday. We're at 460 right now on the 10-year. Rick Santelli is standing by at the CME in Chicago. And CPI and PPI might rhyme, but they definitely don't always move in tandem. So what is it, Rick?
Well, they don't, but they usually do rhyme. In this instance, there's a lot of similarities. If we look at the headline number, expected up 0.3 on final demand month over month for January. Wholesale producer price index comes in up 0.4, a bit hotter than expected, equaling November of last year and several other spots. But to find a higher number, you're going to April of 24 when it was up 0.5%. If we look at ex-food and energy, up 0.3, somewhat as expected. Definitely a lot hotter than the zero in the rearview mirror, and that headline was 0.2 in the rearview mirror, so sequentially higher. 0.3 to find a higher number, you're going back to September of last year. Take out food, energy, and trade, also up 0.3, hotter than expected, and definitely sequentially hotter. Revisions coming in. We'll get to those in a minute. If we look at now the year-over-year final demand, expected 3.3, comes in 3.5, 3.5. That would be the hottest rate going back to Feb of 23. If we look at food and energy on the year-over-year perspective, expecting 3.3, it's up 3.6. That would be the warmest going back to February of 23 as well. And finally, ex-food, ex-energy, ex-trade. And we're looking at a 3.1 coming in, comes out at 3.4. That would be the warmest going back to, you guessed it, 23, but this case, March of 23. Now, let's look at these revisions because they're substantial. And remember, like yesterday, there's going to be annual revisions, so not just what I'm looking at, but going back years. Okay, the headline number at 0.4 now follows 0.5 instead of up 0.2. Ex-food and energy up 0.3, now follows up 4 instead of unchanged. Ex-food, energy, and trade up 0.3 instead of following up 1/10, follows up 0.4. So those revisions changed everything sequentially. Everything now seems lower. But listen, that really isn't going to change the dynamic. The market smells this one. Interest rates reverse after looking at the first couple of monthly numbers and before revisions. We're now up at 461 on a 10, which would be minus 2 basis points net change. We see that the pre-opening equities at first rallied a bit. Now they're back down, but the numbers aren't large. I see Dow futures, which were up 1, are now down 5, 3, 2, 1. So getting right back to about where they were. What's interesting here is even though yields are a bit lower now, 10-year and 30-year have closed higher in yield 5 consecutive sessions. So we want to see if we're going to break that pattern today. And don't forget, yesterday was a 10-year note auction, and despite the big concession and how much higher interest rates moved, the auction didn't go particularly well. It was basically an average auction. Today we have 25 billion 30-year bonds. It's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. I know we talked about a week ago and we spent time under 4.5 briefly in a 10-year, under 4 3/4 briefly in a 30-year. And what did I say, Joe? Don't look for these to hold out much longer. The technical picture was we weren't going to spend a lot of time below those points, and boy, the technicals worked. So we want to really, really pay a close eye on this auction to see if we drum up any extra demand now that we've skipped over that 4 3/4 mark in a 30-year bond. Back to you.
Yeah,
Oh,
futures.
hold on. I'm sorry, Joe. Hold on. Initial
Okay.
jobless claims. I apologize.
Oh, yeah.
213,000.
There's that.
Yeah, 213. That follows the slightly revised 220,000. And the best way to look at this is we haven't been over 250,000 since the first week in October of last year. And on continuing claims, 1,850,000, backing away from our one read at 1.9 million. That was the second week in January. That was the highest since November of 21, and we've been moving backwards since. This equals where we were in the second week of January, this 1,850,000, and you would have to go back to the third week in December to find a smaller continuing claims number. Now we're done. Apologize, folks. Back to you.
Hey, Rick. Yesterday the markets or that number shook us out of our false sense of security about inflation, and I don't know why. It was the third straight increase, and we've been talking about it before the turn of the year. All we talked about was what was still in the pipeline. And Shree's been talking about, we're going to talk to Shree now, but we knew that maybe there was, in services and wages, there was no reason to think that the final nail had been put in the coffin of inflation. That's why we kept saying, what the hell is Jay Powell thinking with 50 basis points? And then another 25 and another 25. We already said all that. I don't know why it came as such a shock yesterday. I don't know why. Do you?
No, I don't know why either. And I'll tell you, there was a tell. The tell for the last 7 months, in my opinion, is when you see data that doesn't show year-over-year progress, whether it's CPI, PPI, or even, to some extent, the personal consumption expenditures. What you see is the analysts and the Fed officials annualizing some of the smaller month-over-month numbers. You know, that's a mug's game. It's speculation that next month is going to be in the same stride as the previous several months to give you that 6-month outlook or that 12-month.
So producer price index, not a surprise, came in at slightly higher than expected. The ex-food and energy, so the PPI core was the only one that came in line. But otherwise, it came in higher than expected. That's not a surprise because CPI usually leads PPI, meaning yesterday's CPI was hot. Most likely means PPI will be hot as well. Now, these aren't even including the tariffs, the impact of tariffs, which will have an effect, I think, on PPI more than CPI, right? PPI is the producer price index. So you could think of it like inflation that starts at the production level as opposed to inflation that starts at the consumer level, right? So before the prices are raised for the consumer, does the producer, the person who's making the goods, experience inflation before then setting the retail price, right? So that's the difference between PPI and CPI. So PPI came in hotter than expected as well. Not a surprise, but PPI core seems to be in line, 0.3 month over month versus 0.3 month over month. Now, I was looking at this chart of Datadog. It did something that I haven't seen in a long time. So Datadog reported earnings just this morning, and this is one of these, cybersecurity AI software names that we actually did trade a few weeks ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. But what's interesting is they were reporting earnings this morning. Yesterday, for no reason at all, this thing after hours started pumping and went all the way to 156. And this was after hours. And then this morning they reported earnings and it dropped all the way down to a low of 125, basing around 135 now. But I've never seen a company pump in the after hours before earnings, because they reported this morning, not yesterday after market close. And then this morning, they ended up dropping. It's pretty wild. But anyway, might look at it here. They actually did beat out earnings, and I like the price level that it's at. It's following this trend here, this former support resistance level. I might consider trading it here. I do want to look at why it dropped. Was it just profit taking and manipulation? Because that's what it seems like. I guess it has to do with guidance. It has to do with guidance. Their earnings were good, but it has to do with guidance. So I'll look at that one. Not a big deal. If we look at what happened to the S&P 500, same thing, a little bit of a down move, but now it is rallying back up again. It looks like, for all intents and purposes, I mean, still in February we're just in this very tight range here, right? In February, so nothing crazy. I think that, we do need to break out of this in order to really get a sense for where the market wants to go. Now, just like looking at a few things around the market, it does seem like the market is risk on. So if you look at certain names like Palantir or HIMS, sort of these high beta stocks, it seems like a lot of money is pouring into them, right? I haven't even looked at Reddit. Let's see, because I think it reported earnings yesterday after market close. Yeah. There's definitely an appetite for risk on, that's for sure. But the reason that it feels like the market is down is because the Mag 7, for the most part, is lagging, right? So aside from Meta, which ever since Mark Zuckerberg took a look at Lauren Sanchez, who's Jeff Bezos' girlfriend or fiance, ever since of that stare picture, that creepy stare picture from the inauguration, Meta hasn't had a red day. That's wild. So aside from Meta, Tesla obviously, giving up all of its election gains. I'm going to talk about Tesla in a second because I think that there is a chance that it does start climbing from here after hitting its 100-day moving average. Nvidia obviously declined after the DeepSeek news, down to 113. Now doing well again. Apple had dropped all the way down to 220, doing well again. Amazon kind of lagging, Google kind of lagging, even though I think Google is going back to 200 pretty easily from this level here. But the Mag 7 has been, very laggy besides, like I said, besides Meta, right? And a lot of that has to do with the fact that their AI spending is, they're still spending a crazy amount on AI, which the market deems as right now unprofitable because they can't see the potential benefits of that insane CapEx spend. So that's part of the reason why. But if you look at the market, like I said, number one, it seems to be risk on, right, in the short term. And two, the market is doing really well without the Mag 7, right? So if you look at the rest of the stocks, if we look at the S&P 500, for instance, I'll look at the SPY because the chart's a little bit easier to read. But if you look at the SPY, we are only from an all-time high close, we are only down 0.83%, 0.83% from an all-time high close, right? So with the Mag 7 lagging, that shows us that the rest of the stocks, whether it's financials, which are doing really well, healthcare is kind of lagging a bit, but some of these other sectors are doing really well. Two of our biggest winners this year have not been in the Mag 7, right? They've been Uber and Costco. Those stocks are not in the Mag 7. They're stocks that I typically wouldn't even think about, but those are our biggest winners this year. And it just goes to show that, there is sort of a rotation here, which is healthy in a market. But definitely the risk is not off. I think it is risk on. And if you look at the treasuries, once again, climbing back up as the 10-year hit that 4.6 level, almost 4.7 level yesterday. If there was a flight to safety, you would see treasury yields drop, because that would mean that investors are so scared that they're pouring into treasuries, right? But so far, the market seems risk on. It seems like it wants to take on risk. Now, obviously, we know that those things can change very quickly depending on, economic events. But as of now, that's what it seems like. So the market is writing off new Trump tariffs. No, it's because we've had experience with Trump tariffs in 2018, and they didn't cause inflation. One thing they did was lead to a stock market correction, but we know that they didn't cause inflation in 2018. Now, that's not to say that these tariffs are exactly the same. These tariffs might be more aggressive. But remember that we halted tariffs with Canada and we halted tariffs with Mexico. And those are our two largest trading partners. We are very used to tariffs with China. Like Biden was the one that put in 100% tariff on their EVs, which is why you don't see Chinese EVs here, right? So the Chinese tariffs are definitely something that the market is used to. But if it starts affecting companies like Apple, which the first round of tariffs didn't, right? Because Trump gave an exception to American companies that produce in China. So tariffs on everything except for Apple products, for instance, right? If it starts to affect companies like Apple, yes, I mean you're gonna see something different. But for sure, we did not see inflation from the first round of tariffs in 2018, the 2018-2019 trade war. The market did correct, but the economy did not see tariffs. The market did not see inflation, sorry. Sell puts on hood. Brother, what the hell are you talking about? Hood is up pre-market 14%. What do you mean sell puts on hood? What is going on, guys? Good morning. Serrano, thank you so much for your donation, bro. Appreciate it, bro. Zuriel, what's going on? Angel Child, what's going on? Please boost your mic level. No, I'm not boosting the mic level. I checked it. My mic level is amazing. All right? No more boosting the mic level comments. How about you boost your fucking hearing aid or turn up your speakers? Because I checked specifically and you guys are trolling me. Big Asian, what's going on? Sasha, Peyton, Christian, Jem, Johnny, Ronald, Mateos, what's going on? Julio, what's going on? Regine, what's going on? Lean Supreme, what's going on? Strong and Free. You got two names. What's going on? Kumaria, what is going on? I've never heard of that name, Kumaria. Is that like the female version of Kumar? Pretty interesting, if so. All right, so here are the levels that I'm looking at right now. We did not take London low on ES. We did not take London low on NQ. So we know those levels are still intact. We just took a London high on NQ. Just took London high on ES. NQ didn't touch midnight. ES did. What I would love to see, I would really love to see this. I would love to see us take out these data lows and potentially London low for a move higher. Because if we come up and take out Asia high and take out the data high, then I think it's gonna be reverse of what happened yesterday. Meaning yesterday we went down initially and then, went back up and cleared out all of the losses. But in this case, if we take out the liquidity from buy side first, there's a higher chance that we head down for the rest of the day. Now it is Thursday, but what's up with quantum computing?
Joining us right now on this week's inflation data and what it could mean for the Fed is former Federal Reserve Vice Chair Roger Ferguson, who is also the former president and CEO of TIAA.
This guy looks like Steve Urkel,
He's also
bro.
a CNBC contributor. And Roger, what do you think? 2 days in a row, hotter than expected numbers. We all assume that means the Fed's in a little bit of a box and is not going to be able to do much of anything for the foreseeable future.
I agree with that completely, Becky. You may recall on 2 or 3 appearances ago, I said I doubted the Fed would even get off 2 rate cuts this year, as they had put into their projections, their dot plots. And I think the market and the Fed have both come to the conclusion that it's sit tight for a long period of time. They had hoped that inflation was moving gradually but steadily to the 2% target. I think that's called into question right now. It's been moving sideways and now, unfortunately, in some measures, slightly higher. So stand pat for a long period of time until there's greater clarity.
How concerned are you about this inflation and just how persistent it is?
I'm somewhat concerned about it, which is, I think, a message I've been delivering for a period of time. Some of it is structural, housing, for example, but then we find, in autos, the same thing. But to a broader picture, we're running fiscal deficits. I'm not sure that the current administration, try as they might, will be able to get that under control. Introducing tariffs doesn't necessarily have to be inflationary, but against this backdrop, it might well be. And so I am concerned that we are in a period of great uncertainty when it comes to macroeconomics, making the Fed's job very difficult.
Where do you lean just in terms of where the economy is headed? In all, it seems like a pretty decent economy. The jobs numbers haven't been concerning at all. They've been pretty strong numbers, too. Do you worry more about the economy weakening, about inflation heating up, or is it a combination of the two?
It's really a combination of the two. So I agree. The president has inherited a very strong economy. Unemployment is, roughly where we'd normally think of full employment of roughly 4%. Inflation has been coming down, but it's not at the 2% level. I think the issue now is, if the Fed is going to really try to drive inflation towards 2% against these other forces, they're going to have to really ratchet up rates maybe higher than they or anyone else would like. There's a risk that tit-for-tat tariffs may slow the global economy. So I frankly see risks on both sides, and I think it's therefore a pretty treacherous time. Inflation could well pick up. It does seem to be entrenched, and at the same time, if the macro situation isn't well handled, we could have tit-for-tat tariffs that slow the global economy, create recessions in some of our larger trading partners.
I like this guy. I think he's smart. He was the former vice chair of the Fed. Definitely a smart guy. But he said that tariffs aren't necessarily inflationary, but they could be in the backdrop of this environment, right? And he's absolutely right. And he said, that the tit-for-tat type of tariffs can slow the global economy down, for sure. RTY with a really interesting move here. This might be the index that I trade today. Here's a trick, right? When you're trading like CPI, PPI type shit, you don't want to make a move until one of the data wicks are taken. So you have the 830 candle, right? This is the candle where data was had, and you have a wick up and a wick down. You don't want to make a move until one of those is swept, because most likely the move then is to the other end, if that makes sense, right? So if you have the data lows taken, then you can potentially look for a setup if it forms, with the drawn liquidity being the data high. If the data high swept first, then the opposite is true. So that is one way not to lose your ass trading during a data day. A data day. All right, let's take a look at some individual stocks here. Like I said yesterday, or not yesterday, I mean, I said this last week, but Tesla off of the 100-day, I was almost certain that Tesla would hit the 100-day moving average after it hit the 50, because it routinely does that. Now, off of the 100-day, you know, obviously, if you're a long-term, that is a great dollar cost average point. That is something that I did send out in the investing portion of the Discord. You know, buying it at in that 330 range for the long term. Hit a high of, I think, 350 almost pre-market. Let's see, 349-ish. But in my view, I think that there is a lot here before Tesla can rally hard. There's a lot to consider. It's only February. Car sales for sure are slowing down. I don't think Tesla's going to hit its delivery numbers this year, not even close. So all the focus is going to be on AI. So between now and the summer, when they're going to pilot robotaxi in Texas. Oh, by the way, Trump talks at 1 p.m. Wow, this is going to be a fun fucking day. Trump news conference on tariffs at 1 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, I think that there isn't a real reason for Tesla to rally besides the market being risk on. Like I said, if you look at names like HIMS or Hood or Palantir or Reddit, right? There's clearly still an appetite for high beta names. And Tesla is the highest beta of all the mega caps, right? Tesla is a mega cap, is a Mag 7 stock that trades like a high beta, high risk name. It's not stable like a Meta or Microsoft or Apple. So, you know, it has that going for it. And then if we get any pertinent updates about robotaxi and autonomous driving, because right now that's the only thing keeping this stock up, right? If this stock was just being priced in terms of deliveries and car sales, this stock would absolutely tank. But that's not how it's being priced, obviously, because Tesla's car sales are actually the worst that they've been in a very long time. I said the same thing 20 minutes ago. Oh, Z for Fed chair? God, hell no. I wouldn't want that responsibility, bro. I probably could do the job, not even lying. I know what my abilities are and what they aren't. And for sure, I feel like I could do that job. Yeah, I think I could do quite a few jobs in the finance economic sector for sure, but tried that once in my life. Not for me. I'd rather sit here in my fucking sunglasses and my LA hat live streaming than fucking working as a suit. No. I don't see Trump's tariff talk on White House schedule. Bro, it just blasted on live TV. I didn't make that up. The hell?
Well, I don't see Trump's tariff talks at 1 p.m. Where do you get this information?
The fucking news. That's where I got the information. Nerd. Oh, wow. Look, there's the headline again. I must have photoshopped this.
What I said, if they don't cut Bitcoin, no reason.
Did we overreact to yesterday?
No, I think that was it.
I think yesterday was the, and we follow Treasury.
We got to go.
Yeah.
Make sure you join us tomorrow.
Bye.
We'll talk all about it. Squawk on the Street is next.
All right. We have 30 minutes until market open. Tesla at 347, about $11 higher than yesterday. The 10-year cooling off, which is great. I don't think that it's in a good place overall. I did take a shorting the yields, longing the 10-year futures. When we dropped below this, ended up getting stopped out for break even yesterday. And right now we popped back above that major level. And I think it looks like the yields are just going to keep going up. Google, like I said yesterday, I gave you that resistance support level of 182 bouncing off it nicely. I think Google gets to 200 really quick, to be honest. I'm more bullish now in this time window in the AI boom. I'm more bullish on software names than hardware names. Nvidia just flat, Apple flat, AMD flat, Amazon flat, Microsoft flat. Wow. Meta flat. These things haven't even moved. ASML is flat. What about Uber? Come on, baby. Tell me Uber's up. Uber flat? God damn it. What about Costco? Costco flat. Man, when I look at Costco, I get scared. As someone who recently bought Costco at 900, seeing it pop to almost 1100, I'm just like, oof. This is scary times. Definitely a candidate to sell cover calls on, for sure. Intel's up a few cents, from 22.48 to 22.83. Definitely looks like it's basing around that level that it based in the summertime, for sure. There is a name that looks interesting. Oh no, it fucking popped. We bought grab calls in the Discord a couple weeks ago. When was that, guys? When was that? Opening up a swing position and grab calls. Yeah, so this was January 30th when grab was $4.67. I bought the 450 calls. We ended up closing these for 65% on the 4th. So we bought them on the 30th, closed them on the 4th. And if you want to trade live with me every single day, link is in the description. So come trade live with me. But I looked at grab again, and on the weekly chart, you can see this beautiful, beautiful bull flag right here on grab. Almost like textbook. textbook. So I think Grab continues higher, especially now that we have a lot of euphoria surrounding Asia stocks, right? Grab is not Chinese. I believe it's Singaporean, if I'm not mistaken. But they're all over Southeast Asia. But I could see it easily going to 6 soon, breaking out of this bull flag. So it is a pre-market breaking out of this bull flag. It does report earnings next week, but it might do something like Datadog, where it pops pre-earnings. Palantir is flat. Tempest, this is the one that Pelosi's in. Man, just no chance for a pullback. No chance for a pullback. Would have loved the opportunity to long this. And now, unfortunately, we are at triple resistance here. There is one stock that I'm looking at, which is XYZ, which used to be Square, which is now Block. Why did they change their name to XYZ? That's kind of stupid. I'm still not interested in a long here. It did bounce off an important level, which is basically this. But not really that interested. Plus, I think Bitcoin, I personally think Bitcoin is going to lose some steam here. I think Bitcoin will be between 75 and 80 soon. And if that's the case, companies like XYZ, MicroStrategy has been eerily quiet. Even its implied volatility has been down. But this has to do with Bitcoin's price for sure. If Bitcoin drops to that 75 level, I think MicroStrategy can get to 200 and maybe even a little below. At that point, selling puts would be a dream because its IVs would spike. All right, let's take a look at gold real quick. Market opens in 23 minutes.
The size and scope of what this is going to look like?
We don't know anything about the size and scope of what this is going to look like. What we do know now is timing. The president just putting out a post on Truth Social.
I'll be right back.
Just a few minutes ago saying that the event will be at 1 o'clock here at the White House later today. Here's his Truth Social post from last night in which he talked about the success that he's had over the past couple of weeks and the fact that he's going to do reciprocal tariffs today. That post going out last night saying, I'm sorry, this is the post from just about 10 minutes ago saying 1 p.m. in the Oval Office today. So that's what we know, Sarah. The question is, what is the president going to be announcing and how much jello is going to be in the bowl here on these reciprocal tariffs? My understanding from talking to White House officials over the past 24 hours is that this is very much a moving target, has been over that time frame. They've been talking with foreign leaders around the world, a lot of industry groups wanting exemptions for their industries, for different regions around the country. The way this has been explained to to me is that all of those details were being hashed out through the day yesterday. It's not clear how finished they are. And so one of the things I'll be watching for is whether this is an announcement of tariffs going into effect today, or whether this is an announcement of some rollout plan in the future for tariffs that are still to come. Will there be some kind of time frame on this saying, this might not happen for 30 days, 90 days, 180 days, something like that, because of the nature of that moving target through the night last night and through the day yesterday. The other thing that I'm told is that the president's been very resistant to the idea of exemptions for tariffs. A lot of people have been asking for carve-outs and favors, and the president views that as sort of trying to turn the block of cheese into Swiss cheese. He has resisted a lot of that, but we'll see where we land later on today. Meanwhile, overnight, we saw Elon Musk saying he wants to delete federal agencies. Here's what he said at an event overnight.
I think we do need to delete entire agencies as opposed to leave part of them behind. Because if you leave part of them behind, it's easy. It's kind of like if leaving a weed. If you don't remove the roots of the weed, then it's easy for the weed to grow back. But if you remove the roots of the weed, it doesn't stop weeds from ever growing back, but it makes it harder.
So it goes without saying that there's no delete key on the keyboard in the White House to delete federal agencies that, Congress creates the spending for, creates the law to set up federal agencies. So, how much of that the White House will be able to do, how much of that DOJ will be able to do, will really be up to the courts. And I think a lot of this will be challenged in the courts, as they've seen so far. The president has said he's going to abide by court rulings. He's going to appeal them when he sees that to be necessary. And we'll see what the Supreme Court ultimately says on whether this White House has the authority to delete entire agencies, or whether the power of the purse and the power of creating those agencies in the first place rests with the Congress. So a lot of moving parts here at the White House today, guys.
Speaking of deleting, Eamon, this morning a story on the tape about the State Department's plans to buy $400 million in armored cyber trucks from Tesla has now vanished, right, according to Bloomberg. Where again, it feeds that discussion of just how close Elon Musk is to some of these actions that affect his own business.
Yeah, and that goes back to the conflict of interest question, right? If he's rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, is buying armored Teslas waste? I mean, some people would say that it is. Other people would say, they need armored vehicles in the military and in the government, so why not buy Teslas? But if Elon has control over that kind of spending or vast influence over it, is that ultimately a conflict of interest? If I'm Ford, and or other makers of armored vehicles, I say, that's not fair.
On the tariffs, Eamon, it is interesting that he's hosting Modi from India today, because I was looking. So India has the 10th biggest trade deficit with the U.S., $35 billion. I mean, they do also have high tariffs. So as far as a poster child for reciprocal tariffs, even in our interview yesterday with Peter Navarro, he mentioned Europe and he mentioned India. So is that going to be awkward?
I think it might be awkward, right? I mean, and the question is, a lot of these countries, as they approach the Trump administration, are trying to come here to the White House with some kind of peace offering, some kind of symbolic large gesture. So we'll see if Modi has something like that planned. Maybe lowering tariffs could be one of those things. We'll see. But yeah, it could be awkward. That's why we'll watch.
The last thing, Eamon, is this piece by Chrystia Freeland of Canada in the Times today, where she calls tariffs on Canadian imports an act of economic self-mutilation, and basically says that if America is going to go ahead with this, we're going to, quote, find some friends elsewhere to the degree they can. Also a piece in page 1 of the LA Times about a so-called boycott of American goods by Canadians gaining some ground, they argue.
Yeah. Look, and that's the risk of tariffs, right, is that you grind sand in the face of your allies and friends, you fray trade relationships. This president, though, feels that those costs are worth paying, whatever they might be, and he doesn't fully believe that all these threats of boycotts and things will come to pass, but he believes whatever the costs are, those are worth paying in order to have domestic manufacturing, domestic production of steel, aluminum, and the like, that we simply need to reset America's trade relationships around the world, and that's going to come with some short-term pain.
I mean, sure, there's risk of that we're not reliable partners and not doubling down on our allies. But a lot of that is also political posturing. They're running an election in Canada. What are they going to do? Turn to China?
So yeah, I'm not too sure about. Well, I don't think anyone's sure what he's going to announce, but remember how I was just saying that in 2018 the tariffs were not inflationary, and there were carve-outs for companies like Apple, American companies that did a lot of work in China, right? Apple, Nike, etc. You heard there that the reporting is that, Trump is not a fan of those carve-outs this time around. So, if he imposes tariffs on Chinese goods, that's going to apply to, iPhones and freaking laptops and sneakers or whatever. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see at 1 p.m. I'm looking at a potential long on oil, only because I really like where the high time frame is at coming into this weekly fair value gap. Oil has had 4 weeks of straight down, and certainly the talk around tariffs, which we don't know particularly what they're going to include, but the talk about tariffs obviously almost always threatens the cost of fuel. So we'll see about that. Someone had asked, how do you join? I pinned the link in the description. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a promo code. Let me just create it real quick, but I'm going to give you a promo code just for this live stream. You won't see this anywhere, and it's going to expire after this live stream. It's only if you're first time, if you're a first time member, first time signing up. I'm going to give you, well, let's make it 20. No, let's make it 30% off. Let's do that. Let's do that. Use code PPI at checkout for 30% off. I like to give back to you guys that watch these streams. So I'm not going to put this code anywhere else. So if you happen to be on the stream, you're in luck. Let's pin that. There you go. Use code PPI and get you 30% off if you're a new member. Hi, I also want to join. All right, the link is right there, bro. If you're on YouTube, the link is at the top of the chat. It's pinned. Ark, appreciate your donation to St. Jude's, man. Thank you so much. On what? Where is a good place to learn how to trade futures? Well, I trade futures live every single day on the Discord, but obviously you're going to have to do some, if you don't know how to trade anything, you're going to have to do some studying. I do have a video on YouTube for how to trade futures for beginners. You can look that up. Elcom, my team tried to get a hold of you and couldn't. So, yes, the code is working, dude. Elcom, again, email operations@thetravelingtrader.com. Wow, that long would have worked. What time is it? 9:20. Appreciate your donation, Daryl. Thank you, man. You want to buy lifetime? No, PPI I just made for the annual and the monthly. Do you have anything about options trading on your Discord? What does anything mean? Please define the word anything. I trade options, yes, but I don't know what you mean. Do you have anything on options trading? I think there's going to be a nice long on oil soon. Morning. Any thoughts on XRP? I don't care about XRP. I haven't looked at XRP in 3 years. 5 years, sorry. No, more than that. I haven't looked at XRP in 7 years. I'm trying to get into physical gold now. Probably the worst time. Do you ever cash in, or is that just a nest egg? If you buy gold, why would you trade it for cash? I don't get it. Doesn't that defeat the purpose? I'm going to add an alert at the 8:30 high on both NQ and ES because I don't want to miss if it takes that. Right now, it is just ugly on NQ and ES. We needed to make an initial move in order to fade the manipulation. All right. I see a potential long. Market hasn't opened, but I really want to take this. It is a bit risky-ish before market open, but
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Yeah, the only thing that for me doesn't make this A plus are these equal lows here. So if you look at, this is the 4-hour fair value gap. We came into there and we have relative equal lows here. So 6. We did take out yesterday's low. We also took out previous week low. If you look at the weekly, right there, into that weekly fair value gap. And this is now a unicorn, right? You have the breaker and the fair value gap. So this is a good trade, as well as midnight. So you have midnight, breaker, fair value gap, sweep of 830, right? So we took out the 830 low right here. I like this trade. I would consider it a B plus trade for sure. It's just I'm not really a fan of these equal lows here. I'm going to take it nonetheless. I like the risk to reward. You should have your logo on the wall in the back. What do you think that is? What do you think that is? Thank you for the promo. I just joined. Hell yeah, welcome. Where to see the alerts? What are you talking about, bro? I'm on YouTube. What do you mean? Join the Discord. If you want to see my alerts on a daily basis, yeah, join the Discord. But are you talking about this trade? Is it still good to buy call on Nvidia today? You probably shouldn't be trading options. I'll say that. In Discord, which tab? Jesus, bro. Come on. There's a whole welcome here section, dude. Please don't bother the stream because you don't want to take 2 minutes and look. I just signed up for a year. Welcome, Christian. Very happy to have you, bro. Irene, if you're asking if it's still a good time to buy calls, I probably would only paper trade options for now. I'll be honest. Obviously, the risk is up to you, but you know, just casually buying calls or puts is what usually kills most retail traders. Like, you have to have a setup, right? You have to have a reason for buying calls, and then beyond that, what strike price are you going to pick? What expiration are you going to pick? If you don't know how to do these things, I really suggest that you paper trade. What? Apple to integrate Alibaba's AI into phones in China? I guess it has to. If you don't, if you don't have a sense for how these things move, like for instance, right? If I bought the 130 calls expiring tomorrow, how is that different than if I bought the 125 calls expiring in a month? How do those two things behave differently, right? And if you don't know that, then I suggest that, honestly, that you paper trade, because they're very different. Calls are not just one thing, if that makes sense. Market just opened, guys. Let's see what happens here. Dude, I asked about Baba yesterday. Okay. Who are you? Your name is Stock Rat. I have no idea who you are, with respect. You're talking to me like we're homeboys. And we had a dinner conversation about Alibaba. Who are you, dude? Okay, you asked me about Baba. So what? Fuck me. Ah! This is gonna run, isn't it, guys? Got filled on CL? Good job. I didn't. Just the tip. Did I miss it by one tick? It might have been two. Let me see. Oh my God, it is one tick. You dirty bastard. It is one tick. My entry was 766. And it bounced off 767. But I think it can come down, to be honest. I'm going to make shirts that say just the tick. I think those shirts will sell like, I don't know. I think I'll sell like 2 of those. And I'll be one of the buyers. Mustard on the beat. Hope. Bum, bum, bum. I still think it might get filled, to be honest. There it goes. Yo, this is some harami shit. I got filled here. I did not get filled on Thinkorswim. What? Yeah, this is definitely riskier because of the time. It's still 9:35, but I like the risk to reward, and I like the trade. Only thing unsure about are these equal lows here after taking that 4 hour, but taking out yesterday's low, taking out previous week low, I like the bias. And we haven't taken out London high yet, right? We took out data low, we took out London low. So let's see if we can make it to London high at 71.06. You know what? Just because of that. Hey, I can't move this. What? I might have to do this in Ninja Trader. Hold on. You son of a bitch. I'm going to move my stop limit down by a couple ticks. just in case. Bro, it's not updating in TradingView. That's fine. It's updating in NinjaTrader. The price is updated. The P&L is updating in TradingView. All right, we'll let that be. Yeah, like I said, only thing that I think can take me out of the trade realistically, and why it's not an A+ trade but a B+ trade, are these equal lows here. So if that gets taken out, I will still look for potentially another long, but let's see how this works out. NQ and ES both took out the data high and both took out Asia high. Very interesting here, but as I told you, that's not what I want to see. We now have divergence here too. Between, I might take a short on ES. Yeah, I'm gonna take a short on ES. We have divergence. You see how ES didn't take Asia high, made a lower high. NQ made a higher high. That is divergence right there. Very nice. Up 525, guys. Up 500. We are now in the 15-minute fair value gap. Up 625. Up 675. I'm going to take profits right around here. Up 700. 800, guys. Good enough. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Shorted ES for $800 in 2 seconds. Hell yeah. Let's get this lady off the screen so I can explain the trade to you. Hell yeah, bro. Just touched 832. What did I tell you guys at the start? If we take data highs, I'll look for a short. If we take data lows, I'll look for a long. We took data highs, right? That's the 830 high. That's the PPI high. Now, what is this here? This is Asia high, right? What do we notice about NQ? Why did I short ES and not NQ? NQ took Asia high. You see that? So this right here, you make a higher high. ES, this is a lower high. This is called bearish divergence. Now, when you see this bearish divergence at major levels, after sweeping major liquidity, so they both swept the data high, and you see that, which one is weaker? If one made the high and the other didn't, which one is weaker? The one that didn't make the high. So shorted off of the entry model was just the 2-minute IFVG. When I saw this, right? You could even look at the 1 minute or whatever. But when I saw the 2-minute IFVG, even if you use something like CISD, right? Changing the state of delivery, you have this order block here. But the IFVG was quicker because that right there was the IFVG close. That right there was the CISD close, right? So once I saw this, and that's 932, I took a short on ES to get to just fill this fair value gap at 830. So a lot of elements here, guys. A lot of elements in the works here. But watch these, learn it. And for those of you that aren't part of the Discord, yes, I trade like this every single day on the Discord. So that's, in my view, someone was asking, how do I learn how to trade futures? That's the best way to learn, is to watch someone else, have somewhere where you can ask questions, etc. Our CL trade is still up 120 bucks here, the CL long. I like that it's holding that midnight level. Nowhere near yet at a point where I can move this to break even. Where's the divergence? Bro, I just showed you. Rewind it. One made a higher high and one made a lower high. That's a divergence. All right. Hell yeah. Super happy about that, bro. Up 240 on CL. Gonna try to take this to London high, guys. What a day already. Where is my cursor? Bro, there is something wrong with... So we took data high and low. Yeah, so I'm not worried about that. The macro is coming up in 5 minutes. So would like to see an expansion off that. What? The new Kobe's drop in 15 minutes. Hell yeah. Look at that take profit, bro. That's like someone that's been in the market too long and been burned by not taking profits at opportune levels. I knew that 5-minute fair value gap at 830 was the take profit. All right, NVIDIA doing nicely, up 1.33. Like I said yesterday, I gave you guys this gem on yesterday's stream. This is a major level for me. This is a major level for me on NVIDIA. So yesterday I sent out an alert in the Discord that towards the end of the day I'll be picking up NVIDIA calls. Those calls are now up 10%. But I think this is a really nice potential here. If NVIDIA gets above the 100-day, which right now is at 135, if NVIDIA gets above the 100-day, this thing is going to Valhalla. I think it fills the gap at 142. Up 300 on CL, guys. I'm not sure what is up with this. Let's go up 400 on this. Hell yeah. 510, guys. Let's go. 570. Let's go. Oh my God, bro. I'm going to book this here.
Order filled.
Hell yeah. I copied that motherfucker across so many accounts too. I'm gonna wait for a pullback. I think it gets to London high, but I wasn't about to give that up. I copied that across multiple accounts too. This is real money and prop. One real money. So because of slippage, I marketed it out. So some exited at 480, some exited at 420. Fuck yeah, let's go. Quick 800 on ES short. Quick, I don't know how much this is. 5K, 6K on CL. Done for the day, guys. Let me check in with y'all. Nancy Pelosi tab open? Of course, bro. She's the GOAT. What the fuck? What do you want from me? All right. How many of y'all made money with us today? Put a W in the chat. So I love to see, bro. 4,500 people so far tuning in. W's all around. That's what we do. Love making people money. This is going to London high, guys. I'm going to wait for a pullback to get in. I did not want to leave that profit on the table coming into this 15-minute fair value gap. I think we retest. There's a chance that we retest a fair value gap before going up, but that is my target right there, 71.06. Duplicating the trades across prop. Yeah, so in Ninja Trader, I did a whole video on this, by the way. Fuck, I've been on YouTube so long, I have a video on everything probably. Probably have a video on how to tie your shoelaces. How to copy trades, the traveling trader. Oh, wow.
Are based here.
This actually got a good number of views for being such a specific video. How I use a trade copier to trade multiple prop accounts. So I go through a tutorial of how to connect this. But yeah, you can use it for Top Step, Apex, My Funded Futures, etc. The only one that actually has a very bespoke way of connecting is Top Step if you're going to use other firms. So make sure you pay attention to this video if you want to learn how to copy. But yes, in Ninja Trader, you can add prop accounts and real money. So I have a real money Trade-Evade account in here as well. What a fucking day, guys. I think there's a multi-day long on oil too that I might take. I think there's a multi-day long on oil that I will send out in the Discord. I think it's time. Tesla up nicely. I don't trust any of these moves here, by the way. But for me, right now, Tesla's only in accumulation mode. That's it. I'm not playing options here. I did short Tesla from up here. If you guys are fans of this channel and have been around for a while, you'd know that. But I didn't short it all the way down. I think I closed it at like 380. I shorted it from 414 to 380. But yeah, right now I think Tesla's just dollar cost average. I don't think we're out of the woods here. I'm so glad I'm not trading right now. We got in the perfect fucking snipe, man. For those that just joined, we shorted from here and closed out almost at the bottom of this. Closed out right here. 8:30, 5-minute fair value gap. What a snipe. CL getting to the target. Already closed this out for 500. I thought that there might be a pullback into this fair value gap, which I would have taken long again, but whatever. If you're still in it, we're very close to the target. AMD, is it setting up for a breakout? Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Not even close, no. I think that you know, we're still coming into this gap. I mean, look at how many times you cannot trust a stock until it actually breaks out. I think people's hearts start pumping and they get excited because they hold a long position that they're down on so much. But I mean, look at this, even this fake breakout, fake breakout, fake breakout, fake breakout, fake breakout, fake breakout. Like AMD is not a stranger to big days. This day right here was a 5% day. So to me, this means nothing. I need AMD to break above here, this gap, and break above this level and retest it for me to even worry about AMD. What about Wint? What is Wint? It looks simple when you do it. Maybe because we're just here shooting the shit. I don't know. I don't have that fear. Wow, hit our target. What a beautiful move. I don't have that fear when I enter a trade, or not even, I don't know if it's to call it fear, but that sort of like exaggerated feelings of, oh, I'm in a trade. I can't wait to see what happens now. I've been there. You know, that feeling does last a long time. Eventually you get shaken out of that. If you learn, journal, expose yourself to the market enough, for enough hours, if you don't stop, if you try to limit doing stupid shit, right? Like before you take a trade, ask yourself, am I doing this because I think something's going to happen, or I want something to happen, or I feel like something needs to happen, or is this mechanical based on my strategy? And if you're like, I don't have a strategy, then that's where you should start. But yeah, I don't get that, like the jitters. Like, oh, I can't wait to take a trade. I don't know what happens here. Oh my God, I'm in it. Am I going to lose another one? Like, that stuff goes away if you're doing your job over time. It's understandable if you're still there, because it will remain there for a long time. But if you're doing what you're supposed to do, you will root that stuff out, right? It's just like Kobe said. I can't remember the exact words, but he was just, he basically was saying, I've done this move 1,000 times. Like, it's not unfamiliar to me. I've done this 1,000 times in practice, so now I'm just doing it in a game. Similar thing, right? It's the uncertainty that makes you feel those jitters. But my goal isn't to win every trade, even though that's nice. My goal is to say, am I taking a trade that fits a model, or am I just noodling? Because if you're just noodling, which is what most people do, you're not trading. You just have a brokerage account and you're clicking buttons. You told her to not buy NVIDIA calls, but now it's going parabolic. Who is this dickhead? I didn't say don't buy NVIDIA calls. I said have a reason for buying calls. That's what I said. I said have a reason for buying calls. Let's look at this guy. Oh my God, bro. This, ladies and gentlemen, this right here is who's talking shit to me. Some guy who paid some lady, this poor lady that was forced to spend a night with him. This is who's talking shit. This is who shows up to the streams. Wow, bro. Wow. Yeah, you cannot make that up. Some guy who spent his fucking Wendy's check on a lady of the night. It's like, but you said don't buy NVIDIA calls. No, I did not say don't buy NVIDIA calls. I said have a reason for buying calls. Make sure that it's set up. I have NVIDIA calls, dumb shit. Why would I tell someone not to buy NVIDIA calls? I'm just trying to give solid advice on retail traders not burning their accounts by just throwing money around. But clearly you don't care about throwing money around because you're throwing money around to take pictures with someone who gives two fucks about you. Imagine being such a lowlife that you have to pay somebody for a picture. Like, what kind of fucking lowlife are you, bro? Get your head out of the fucking gutter and try to learn a fucking skill. Fucking cornball, bro. Some people like to torture themselves. I don't know why. That's his mom in the pic? No, bro. Don't do that poor lady like that. She definitely didn't fucking give birth to that pit bull looking motherfucker. Rich Missoni. Well, look, Rich, I'll give you credit for one thing. At least you woke up today and decided, I need to do something else with my life besides paying escorts for pictures. So I'm going to go on YouTube and try to learn how to trade. I'll give you credit for that. You started somewhere. You're still a cornball. Make no mistake about it. You're still definitely cornball of the year. I know 2025 is still early. You definitely are cornball of the year. Roger says Z knows what his mom looks like. Yeah, I know what his mom looks like. That's not his mom. You're right. All right, let's get to a serious question. Someone said about journaling. How important do you feel about journaling? I think you cannot improve your skills without journaling. For sure. Because the thing is this, what most people do, right, is they wake up, they turn their computer on, they try some shit. It might work out one day, 3 days it doesn't, right? They take 1 step forward, 5 steps back. Their account might not be moving. The few times that they see success, it basically betrays them because they think that, oh, maybe I got it. But if you don't have a track record of exactly what you traded, why didn't it work out? Was it because the market just didn't play out, or was it because you took something you shouldn't? Was it an early entry? Was it an early exit? Were you up a lot and you didn't take profit because you just wanted that little bit more, right? All these things are very, very important for you to garner stats on. Right now in the private mentorship group, I run a private mentorship group that only has 10 people in it. But yeah, I basically, I don't want to say force, but encourage all of them to journal. And so, those 10 traders who I'm working with send me their stats every single week. And without that, it's impossible. But you're able to go back and reflect on what you did, why you did it, what you need to stop doing, and what you need to do more of, right? It's not only to catch your mistakes, but it's also to boost things that you should be doing more, right? So for instance, one of the students told me that anytime I take a trade before 9:30, I find that it's a losing trade, right? And obviously pre-market volatility is legendary. So that's just a very small microcosm of what you need to keep track of. But from my experience, and I've tried not journaling, trust me, journaling is imperative. It is imperative, and I personally don't believe that you can become better consistently without journaling, right? You can hit a big trade or two, and that might trick you into thinking that you got it figured out. But without knowing exactly, like, fuck, I should not take trades during lunch. My lunch trades have a 10% win rate, right? I find that I set my stop limit too tight because I'm afraid of losing. So maybe I need to take less contracts and widen my stop limit a little bit. Things like this are impossible to know without journaling. So good question, but that is my opinion. Do you do penny stocks? No. I'm an... What? What up, Toby? Caleb says, this is why I come to these streams. SOXL. Oh yeah, I'll look at SOXL right now. I sold puts on SOXL. Oh shit. Yay. I'm up quite a bit on these puts. I'm gonna wait a little bit more. I usually will close puts out if they have a lot left. So these are the March 25 puts. So I have over a month left on these. Currently up 57% on these cash secured puts. If they get to 65% or more, I will close them out. But yeah, I mean, SOXL obviously contains the big semiconductor stocks, AMD, NVIDIA, Broadcom. Like I said, I think AI hardware is not going to rocket up like it did the last 2 years. I think this is an accumulation phase here for the very long term, because what happens is AI hardware, a lot of money gets spent on it, as we've seen with Google, Microsoft, Meta, etc., right? OpenAI. So you spend a fuck ton of money on AI hardware, and then you start building out your application layers on top of that. And now you're working on optimizing the application layers. And so you don't yet need more compute. You made your initial investment. Now, once the applications get more optimized and now you have more use cases for AI, then you're going to go out and get more compute, right? So that's kind of the cycle that AI is going to be in for the next at least 10 years, if not more. It's going to dominate, obviously, our entire future. But it's going to be accumulation of hardware, then software optimization, accumulation of hardware, software optimization. So I personally think that a lot of money has been spent on AI hardware. It will be needed in the future, but right now is that lull period. So, you know, I don't think that buying calls on SOXL is necessarily, unless they're leaps, I don't think buying short-term calls in SOXL is necessarily a great bet. You could see since November, it's been choppy. But certainly if you're accumulating it for the long term or you're buying leaps, that's a different story. I hope that helps. What software do I use to journal? I use TradeZella. I use this right here. If you use the code TTT20, it will give you 20% off the year. So yeah, it's worth it. If you're at the level where you want to take your trading to the next level, I would definitely suggest getting it. But yeah, if you use the code TTT20, it will give you 20% off the year, which is a pretty sweet deal because it ends up being, I don't know, $100 or $200 off. You like Webull? No, bro. Webull is a Mickey Mouse platform. Any day trades? This guy's been on the stream since the beginning, by the way, that's asking about any day trades. All right, I think there's another move on CL. Like I said, I think this is the start of a multi-day breakout here. CL's been down for 4 weeks in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, sorry, 3 weeks in a row, and this is the 4th week. And we just took out previous week low in this weekly fair value gap. Oh, wow. These NVIDIA calls are up 13%. Super nice. All right, so on the indices, we did take out data highs. We didn't yet take out, I don't believe we took out data low. Let me look real quick just to make sure, because if not, that will be my end of day target. Actually, we did take out data low, technically, on the 1 minute. That right there is the data low, and we did technically take it on both NQ and ES. So that right there is not a thesis, a strong thesis, right? Now on the 5 minute, it didn't take it, obviously, because this candle's 5 minutes. But if you look at the 1 minute, it did. So it could still be a draw, and London low wasn't taken. Do we have a RTH gap? Yeah, just filled it on ES and filled it a long time ago on NQ. And this is the RTH gap from last night. So filled it as well. Yeah, ES too. So we filled the RTH gap from last night and the night before. So right now, we got our bread in for sure, caught the optimal short, not looking at another short at the moment on ES or NQ. Caught the CL long. I do think that CL and GC, oh wow. I didn't get in gold, but the gold long would have worked. Super nice. I think that CL has a multi-day long. Platinum might have a multi-day short. This might be a nice setup here. Oh yeah, this might be a very nice setup here. I might look at a platinum short, oil long. AMD, I don't believe it here. Needs to really close above this gap, close above the trend line. Otherwise, to me, this is just a fake out. NVIDIA doing its thing. Like I told you guys yesterday, this is the level that I'm looking at to buy calls. That is now rocking. And Tesla, yeah, told you guys the 100-day, good area to buy shares for the long term. I'm personally not trading Tesla options just yet, but doing very nicely if you got the shares. And Google, from that level, seeing a nice bounce, could still fill this gap, but for now I'm just monitoring this. Good dollar cost average point, but not yet trading options on this. And that's it, guys. Any idea why SMCI is down today? Did you not look at their earnings? Just passed my first eval on CL. Hell yeah, Brian. Good job. GG today. Made money on your model and mine. Much respect. Have a good day. Hell yeah. All right, guys. If you want to trade live with me, use that promo code that I pinned at the top of the comment section, PPI. This is going to expire after the stream. So if you want to trade live with me, you can use that for the annual or the monthly. If you want TradeZella, TTT20 at checkout will get you 20% off the annual. But great stream, 2 dubs. Appreciate you guys. The rest of you, I'll see you in the Discord. Peace.